Dan, Joel, Zion, Markim. Nickelodeon once ran one of the greatest stories on television of an avatar who had to bring balance to the world. Then, everything changed when M. Night Shyamalan attacked. The creators of Avatar made Legend of Korra for our viewing pleasure. But, when the world needed them the most, they vanished. 15 years have passed and I have created a new podcast, The Order of the White Lotus. And although our podcasting skills are great, we have a lot to learn before we save anyone. But I believe we can save the world. Episode 3 of The Order of the White Lotus is now in session. We got Joel, Zion, myself, and Markim in the studio today, discussing everything from The Last Airbender all the way to Legend of Korra. How are you guys feeling about this?
Feeling good.
Stop. All right, so in this episode, we are going to be going over Last Airbender episode 5 and 6, starting with King of Omashu. Now, this is our third stop for our heroes. We see them go to our first Earthbender, kingdom, and we see Cabbage Man for the first time.
Yo, I love the Cabbage Man. He gets a lot of more screen time than some of the characters.
Yeah, he's definitely the most reoccurring cameo character throughout the whole show. The fact that he shows up in episode 5, and we see him so many more times.
But in this episode, doesn't he show up 3 times?
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
This episode alone.
I saw this meme where it was the Cabbage Man has had more encounters with Aang than Zuko has.
I mean, to be honest, he's had 3 in this episode.
Just one episode.
And that's how many times Zuko has met him too. So
him and my leg guy from SpongeBob share the same energy.
Yeah, all just coming out of nowhere, got the same tone and everything. All right, so in this episode, we start out. They're trying to sneak into this Earthbender kingdom under the guise of not the Avatar, because they don't want everyone getting hype over that, because they already saw what happened with Kyoshi Island when they figured out he was the Avatar. So they have a little disguise, and we'll see a lot more disguises as we progress through the show.
Can you guys pronounce their last names?
Pippin Papa.
Pippin Papalopoulos.
Yeah. Pippin Papalopoulos.
Pippin Papalopoulos. And in this episode, we see the first time earthbending. I was about to say airbending, obviously. We see airbending, but we see earthbending for the first time. We see very rigid form. We see, them lifting up big rocks. When they get inside Omashu, we see their mail system. They're very, unique.
The delivery system, yeah.
Yeah, and we see, this is, before Legend of Korra, we really have no technology. We have very, rustic, very, non-developed.
I guess, what's the word for that? Is it contemporary? Oh, yeah, industrial? Sure. I was about to say contemporary.
Yeah, we see a very early style of what we know as our modern technology that we'll see later in Legend of Korra. But right now, they just have a little slide system that Earthbenders use,
It's very effective, too.
Yeah,
for sure.
People get their mail on time. And to be honest, in this world, that's not really a thing. They might send a raven or a hawk or some kind of bird to deliver a message. But here, they have whole mail, whether it be a package, cabbages, or some other thing that they have to send through other means. So it's kind of cool seeing, this technology.
But they haven't changed it over 100 years, though.
That's true. Right.
Because what works.
That's true. It doesn't really get developed. Because, they can only do so much with what they have. So if it works. And we also see a flashback of Aang and his friend, as we know, Boomy, who used to live here. But they kind of have a cool connection as, Aang is very straightforward, straight-minded. Boomy's a little out-of-the-box thinking. Instead of using the delivery service as for mail, they use it as a slide. And that's how they have a lot of fun as kids, Aang gets to live kind of this childhood before going out and fulfilling his duties as the Avatar. So he has Boomy to thank for that. We end up going through this slide with our usual gang, Sokka, Katara, and Aang. And they go through this slide, get into a bunch of antics, destroy a lot of property. As Aang is still a kid, immature, does reckless stuff. And eventually they get caught by the Earth Kingdom police, and they get sent to King Bumi for judgment on their crimes.
But we didn't know it was King Bumi.
Right. But we don't know this is Bumi from Aang's
old
previous
friend.
life. We just know
Childhood.
that his childhood,
Yeah.
his childhood, not
Like-
previous life, his childhood. We come to meet King Bumi, and we find out that he's a little
King Boomy.
King Bumi, and we find out that he's a little,
Cuckoo in the-
cuckoo in the noggin, not all there. He's not what you usually would think of as a king.
Right.
He's very goofy. He decides to throw them a feast for breaking all that stuff.
But he does it because he already knows who the Avatar is.
Yes.
Right. He notices the
Yeah.
tattoos on Aang's head, and it's like, well, he's an airbender. It's been 100 years. We know that all the airbenders died, so there can only be one person that's an airbender right now, and it has to be the Avatar.
Or he only did it because he wanted to stuff his meat in Sokka's mouth.
Oh my God! Why did you have to bring that up? Okay, yes, there's a
Hold up. Why'd
pause.
you word it like
There's
that?
an innuendo with King Bumi and Sokka, and it's not
Didn't he
pretty.
said there was no skin on it too?
Yeah, shut up! This is a kid show. This is a kid show. Please stop. This is a TV made for kids. Stop.
Uncircumcised.
I mean, hey.
Stop.
We're not the ones who said it first.
Right, okay, right. But yeah,
Who blames the other?
a little. Like, see, that's what we mean about this show. Like, there's so much stuff that is meant for kids, but then they got like little hidden stuff like this that makes it funny for adults to watch.
So what I want to know is, how did Aang meet Bumi? Because like, why was he outside of the Air Nation at that time?
What
That
if he
never
was,
gets.
What if he was being like someone over there was going to be his Earth teacher?
That's a possibility, but like,
Possibility
maybe Bumi
for sure.
was.
I mean, at this point, we can only speculate.
yeah,
because
they never go into it.
Right, we really
They- yeah,
never
I
go
know.
into it. All we know is that Aang knows of Omashu somehow, and probably because to find an earthbending teacher.
Yeah.
Because he had to learn all 4 elements.
I mean, an airbender
Omashu's
can't teach him.
Right, Omashu's the closest earthbending city to the Southern Air Temple, so they figured it was a good idea to go there. But besides that, we seen King Bumi. We know he knows who Aang is, and decides to throw him a little challenge. Now, this is the first hostage situation that we see in the show, as King Bumi, in the middle of the night, gets Sokka, gets Katara, and basically makes them his prisoners using this ring that grows and grows and grows as time goes on.
Creeping crystal.
Yes, creeping crystal.
That was just rock candy.
Yeah, I know, right? They could have just ate it.
But they didn't know that.
Yeah, right. They didn't know that. And this King Bumi uses this as leverage for Aang to fulfill these 3 challenges that he has in store for him. So the first challenge is getting a key that is. Oh, the first challenge is.
It was really
second
difficult.
challenge.
It was really challenging.
Yeah, King Bumi asks how does Aang like his outfit, and Aang eventually answers, "It's okay." And King Bumi's like, "Cool, that was the first test." He's like, "Really?" He's like, "Well, not one of the deadly tests. That was just a test for me, because it's a cool outfit. Not gonna lie, purple looks pretty good on him."
Nah, green looks better.
Purple looks way better.
Nah, he's an Earthbender.
And
But he's also
Green
royalty.
looks good. Oh yeah.
stupid.
All right, so the first deadly test is there's this key that unlocks King Bumi's lunch, and Aang has to find some way to get it. So first, Aang tries to climb up the ladder.
Well, I mean, the key was also in the middle of a powerful waterfall.
That's what I said.
You didn't.
Yeah.
Did he?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think you did.
Yeah, I did.
You did?
So
You did?
the waterfall is, the keys in the waterfall
Yes.
are rushing down.
Okay.
And Aang has to find a way to get it. So the first thing Aang does instinctively is see the ladder, tries to climb up it, and eventually gets pushed down by the force of the waterfall. King Bumi's like, "Well, that clearly didn't work, you fool." And then he tries to jump into the waterfall, using his airbending for lots of boosts of speed, and that doesn't work either because the waterfall is just too powerful. So Aang thinks, there's a sharp piece of rock, a stalagmite, if you will, and he decides to throw it with more force, even though, to be honest, I have a problem with this because Aang probably weighs just as much as that piece of rock and should have also went forward into the
No,
waterfall.
but what he did was he cut the water with his airbending, and then the rock went through.
Yeah.
You didn't
Yeah.
see
You
that?
I thought he
No, he.
You thought
so
he pushed
threw
it with the air?
Oh,
He,
I
he
thought
cut
that
it. He
too
cut the
originally.
water with his airbending, and then that was the perfect Yeah.
He didn't cut the water. He put more force behind the stalagmite.
No,
he put more force with the stalagmite, so it would go through the water.
No,
it was definitely both.
Yeah,
It was
I would say it's both.
So what he did, I don't know if you noticed it. He like threw the rock, and then after that he threw the wind, and it cut the air, it cut the water, and then the rock went right through.
I've seen that. I've seen that scene like.
Yes,
I feel like he amplified. I feel like he amplified the rock.
I would say it's both.
The water cut. You saw the water get cut, and then the rock. Can I
rewatch it?
Yes, you can rewatch.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but like I just want to rewatch.
He's saying you're wrong.
Okay.
I know he's saying I'm wrong.
Yeah, watch it without volume so that way it doesn't get picked up. Okay, but regardless, that idea ends up working, and he gets the key to Bumi. First test, we already kind of see a theme with these tests is that Aang has to think outside of the box. You know, his first two ideas didn't work, so he had to use his brain to come up with a solution for this challenge. His next challenge is to get Bumi's pet named Flopsy, and we see it's just like a little bunny combination, whatever it is, and Aang picks it up and say, "Hey, I found it," and eventually this goat gorilla plops down on the scene and starts to attack Aang, and you know he's trying to get Flopsy, what he thinks is Flopsy, the bunny, the little small bunny, trying to run away. And Aang is chasing it, avoiding, you know, the big goat gorilla.
Okay. All right.
Okay, hold on.
Right here. It's right after. It's
right, I see that.
Hold on.
It goes in front of it and then it catches it.
Dude, I never noticed that. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
It was both. Because
it was both.
It was both.
But what I said is I thought that it was just him propelling the rock.
Oh, no.
Okay.
It was both. It was definitely both because
Okay, that makes sense. All right, that makes so much more sense. Okay, so back to Flopsy. So he's chasing after Flopsy, or what he thinks is Flopsy. Goat Gorilla is going to attack and strike him, and Aang starts thinking like, wait a minute, you know, this bunny's not responding to Flopsy. What if I say it to the Goat Gorilla? And, you know, he says Flopsy to the Goat Gorilla, and the Goat Gorilla says, well, that's me, yeah. And he starts picking up Aang and licking him, you know, not the aggressive gorilla that he once was. Starts to, you know.
I think it's because he already remembered Aang.
I was going to say the same thing. But there has to be an indirect implication.
Right, because there's nothing showing that him and Flopsy
ever encountered.
Exactly.
Right.
That would have to mean Flopsy's like 100 years old.
But when you watch it, he was like confused because he's like, wait, Flopsy or whatever, and then he turns back, and then that's when he called it, and then I think he just remembered like that's. Like,
it seems that's what it was, but at the same time, it's just hard to believe.
I'd rather go with that.
Aang just came to the realization like. Oh,
maybe this little bunny that I've been calling is not Flopsy.
Yeah, everything is not what it seems.
Right, exactly. And like the last challenge, he has to think of, you know, he can't think so straightforward for these tests. And so going on to the third challenge, which is the best challenge the best challenge because we got to fight. You know, Aang has to choose between these combatants, and one of them has like a hook sword. One of them has like, you know, armor, has a mace, and both these guys look menacing. And King Bumi is standing in the middle.
One of them kind of looked like Sokka.
The one with the one with like the hook saber.
Yes, reskinned.
And Bumi says, "Whoever you point to, that's who you're gonna fight." And Aang's like, "Okay, well, I can either pick this deadly guy with his armor and a mace, and he'll probably beat my ass, or I could pick this sadistic-looking guy with the hook sword, and he'll probably slice me up. So I'm gonna pick you because you're old and, you know, you got a hunchback, you look decrepit." And Bumi's like, haha, wrong choice. And Bumi reveals that, you know,
he's a muscular hunk of a guy.
He's a muscular.
He's the king for a reason.
You know, he's like this muscular guy who is one of the greatest earthbenders we'll see in the show. So we finally get our first earthbending fight in the show. And we see that, you know, it's very powerful. Earth is very heavy. But these earthbenders can just boom, boom.
It counters air so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it takes so much force to hold or to push back a rock.
Yeah.
And we see that Aang has so much time struggling with this.
He also hints off that he's fought an an earthbender before because he's predicting everything. He's explaining like this is how an earthbender fights.
Yeah. So we see Aang during this fight, you know, he tries to attack with his own force, but gets countered by earth.
Rock.
You know, air is the opposite of earth. You know, whenever you think of, you know, wind going into rock, you know, the rock doesn't move.
It just stays in place.
It's just simple nature at that point. And we see Aang, you know, desperate, makes a wild tornado very, very fast because obviously, you know, earth the size of what Bumi was thrown at him can only move so fast.
Yeah.
So he decided to make this tornado, and he basically throws the earth back at Bumi. And we see this is going to be a recurring thing for Aang, as he is, you know, obviously he's a pacifist. He doesn't really want to fight. You know, he just uses your own moves against you.
He doesn't engage, like, very, very little engagement.
I don't know if you said it, but, like, he didn't throw the first punch either.
Right. Bumi launched him into the field. And Bumi is a very aggressive earthbender. Oh. You know, he's relentless. He's throwing all these attacks. He's nonstop. You know, he doesn't wait for Aang to do anything. So Aang, you know, makes up that tornado, throws the earth back at Bumi. He thinks you know, Bumi's like, throws it. Aang sneaks up on him, and, like, you know, Aang thinks he won. And then all of a sudden you see Bumi raise his hands, and it cuts to a wider shot of Bumi just holding a rock over Aang's head. And you're like, nah, bro, you didn't win.
It was a draw.
Right, it was a draw because Aang could have, you know, blown him away, and then
knock him out.
The earth would have dropped on him. So you know, but it was a good fight. You know, we see a lot of, you know, this is like, other than the Zuko fight, this is Aang, you know, fighting a whole another element that we have seen before.
Yes.
So it's very interesting to see how Aang deals with this type of power, this bending. And now there's a final question after the 3 challenges that Aang has survived. And, you know, the King of Omashu asks, "What is my name?" And Aang, you know, it's like, "I don't know what your name is." So and then Katara tells him to think of the challenges. And Aang's like, "Well, I had to think outside the box. And I had to stray away from my thinking," and then it clicks. Oh, I know what his name is. And he confronts the king, tells him, you know, "Bumi, I remember you. You're still a mad genius, just like you always been." And Bumi laughs, and, you know, they hug, and, you know, we find out this is Bumi. So this means that Bumi is alive throughout this whole thing.
Same age as Aang, also.
Yeah, he's 112 years old, and unlike Aang, he shows it.
What killed me before that was when they were thank to figure out the name, Sokka was like, he's an earthbender, right? So maybe it's something earthy. Rocky. And they're like, we'll use that as a backup.
Sokka's, you know, still the comic relief of the group. Not the brightest.
He will be.
Okay, all right. Right now, is he the brightest? No.
Okay, no, but like
he's still very strategical, though.
Okay.
Yeah, so is Katara, though.
Something that I noticed.
Aang barely.
Aang just had to. All right, you know, Aang just had to solve all those 3 challenges, but now
any one of them could have solved those 3 challenges by themselves.
No, I don't think so.
Yes, they could have.
Not Sokka.
I think he would have. Absolutely. All right.
Anyway, what were we saying before?
I was gonna say, like, if you really think about it, apart, like, everybody is very, like, I want to say, like, intelligent in their own way. But, like, once Aang and Sokka get together, they're like SpongeBob and Patrick.
Yeah, SpongeBob and Patrick.
Yeah. But
sure.
Yeah, but that's like, that's your boy. They're boys. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
they have a good relationship when it comes to their humor. Because, you know, Sokka, despite having to lead his village, still a kid. You know, still wants to have fun. He's still goofy. So is Katara. Even Katara plays along with them at times. You know, Katara's never.
She's mostly serious.
Though. Yeah, she's mostly serious, but she knows how to have a laugh at a few times, and it's because it's a kid's show. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's a kid's show. You have to have humor between all your characters. You don't want kids not liking a certain character because they're not funny. So I applaud the writers for finding a good balance between that. And, you know, King Bumi and Aang go for one last ride in the mail delivery system, just like how they used to 100 years ago. And Bumi informs Aang, like, a lot has changed over the 100 years. You know, there's been a war going on. You need to master all 4 elements and defeat the Fire Lord and put an end to this. So now we have the higher force. We have like
you have an enemy now.
Yes, we have a goal, an enemy to defeat. You know, before this, we just know that Aang has to master all the 4 elements. But why? To defeat the Fire Lord.
To bring balance to the world.
That's literally the Avatar.
Yep.
That's his duty.
And Bumi being alive this whole time, he's seen it all. You know, Omashu is the last, or one of the last Earth Kingdom cities not to be taken over by the Fire Nation.
Ba Sing Se is still standing at this point too.
Oh, right. That's because Ba Sing Se is like China with the Great Wall, and the multiple layers that they have to get through. It's like Attack on Titan.
It's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy.
Yeah, oh, dude. All right.
Yeah.
We'll end it right there. All we know is, you know, they're still heading to the North Pole to learn waterbending, but now they have a mission, they have a goal, and you know they have an Earth Kingdom ally to rely on. You know they're making friends, they're making these connections that they can go back just in case if they get in trouble and recruit or ask for advice. And Bumi is a great person to do that because despite Bumi being a goofy king, he's very wise and he offers a lot of wisdom to our gang before they head off. So, and that caps off episode 5 of King of Omashu. So next episode 6, titled Imprisoned, we get a little more earthbending action. Our crew stumbles upon an earthbending village that is, you know, run basically by the Fire Nation.
They don't know that yet, though.
Right. Mm-hmm. But eventually, you know, they go into this lady's shop. They follow this mysterious earthbender who we know is Haru. And, you know, they try to like, hey, like, you're an earthbender. Like, come with us, teach Aang earthbending, blah, blah, blah. You know, very straightforward. And Haru's mother is like, no earthbending here. Fire Nation catches us earthbending, they're taking us to prison, just like Haru's father. And, you know, Haru is very scared of this as well. He hasn't seen his father in a very long time. And he doesn't want to show his earthbending to anyone, no matter if they're wearing Water Tribe clothes, Air Nomad clothes, or anybody.
But he was still doing it in the forest.
Right, but that's because no one was looking.
Yeah.
But he didn't know that.
Right, but once they saw him, you know.
He wasn't careful.
She was straight up like, hello, like, hi. Like, he was like, don't worry, we're friendly. He was like, nah, bro. I'm out. Like, I'm not showing anybody this. So as the episode goes on, we learn a little bit about Haru's dad. He was taken to prison for, you know, earthbending, trying to win back the city, but, you know, he just didn't have the troops or the manpower to fight back from the Fire Nation. So they got taken to a prison, and we hear a little more backstory about Katara's mom on how she was taken from her at a young age because she was waterbending, or she was a waterbender. And, you know, the Fire Nation raided their home and was trying to round up the waterbenders, and her mother was one of them.
Southern Raiders, yo.
Yep. And, you know, so now we have a good connection between Katara and Haru, and Katara is going to use this as inspiration for getting their dad, Haru's dad, and the rest of that village back to where they belong. So Katara comes up with this scheme, basically, you know. Oh, before that.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, what happened?
You know, Katara and Haru find this old man trapped beneath some rocks it looks like a mine shaft, and Katara and Haru are trying to help them, and you know, just by using force, trying to pull him under the rocks. And Haru's like, just pull harder. Katara's like, nah,
you need to earthbend
if you want this guy to live. So Haru ends up using his earthbending, you know, in front of this old man. And
very hesitant to do it too.
Right, and you know, it takes him a lot of courage to do this earthbending, and we find out that this old man was a little snitch.
Yo, I hated that.
Yo, imagine like on the verge of death, somebody coming to save you, and then you snitch on them.
Yeah, like come on.
You see that guy who just saved my life?
Yeah,
that's him.
That just goes to show how much of a desperate situation they're in, because he even though he knew it was a bad thing to do, he was hoping to get
a reward out of it.
Some kind of reward out of it from the Fire Nation.
And
they just shoved them aside.
Yeah,
like,
I was just about to say, like, yep, thanks.
And that's just what happens. That's what you learn from things like that.
Unfortunately,
just be grateful, obviously.
So Haru gets taken to this Fire Nation prison. We don't know where it is yet, but Katara is now determined to get Haru's father and everybody else back by posing as an earthbender. So we get a little comical little scheme that they pull off where
a heist.
Katara ends up, you know, looking like an earthbender, And Katara gets
You mean Momo?
Oh yeah,
Momo. Well, the Fire Nation guards think Momo's the Earthbender, but obviously that's not true. That's just for humor. And Katara gets taken away to the prison, and we see how ruthless these Fire Nation prisons are. You know, the warden of the prison is, you know, just basically a dick.
All of the Fire Nation like wardens are dicks.
Yeah, so far everyone that we met from the Fire Nation, other than Uncle Iroh, is, you know, somewhat
hostile.
Hostile. And you know, the warden hears someone cough while he's talking, and he's like, "Send him to the brig underground, like a week in solitary confinement. That'll teach him some manners." So we're like, okay, these guys are not playing around. And you know, Katara is there. She sees Haru. She sees Haru's dad, and you know, she's like, "Okay, now I'm here. Now let's take over this prison and get everybody off the island, because this is a very isolated prison. It's made out of metal, so that the Earthbenders cannot use their bending. Pretty much,
it's like that's like putting a waterbender in like a dry ass area.
Yeah. And we'll actually see that later. So that's pretty interesting how, you know, these prisons, because bending is a very powerful tool.
Yeah.
And, you know, you have to be wary of where you put these benders, because they can end up, you know, just bending and.
Yeah, they could just escape.
Yeah, like, just be like.
Do you think it's possible for them to get the earth under the water though?
It's too far. That requires an obscene amount of force.
Okay.
Yes, but we see it happen though. We do see it happen with Toph.
Yes, but that's also Toph, and I feel like this. They were already on the floor. Like it wasn't that far.
Are you talking about the scene where they wanted to go underground?
Yeah. That's
where she got the water from.
That was season 2.
No, I'm talking about the sea serpent. Remember, she brings up the land.
Yeah.
Up.
That was a server's pass.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Too far ahead.
Yeah. So back to this episode, we see. So Haru's dad and Haru are like, nope, we're not fighting back.
Yeah, so Katara tries really hard to get like the people
a whole speech,
like some whole inspirational speech, and it didn't work at all.
But that goes to show like the Fire Nation just like it's very Nazi. It's very Nazi.
No, you're right.
They take control over your land. They make you have no type of hope, and it just crushes your spirits.
Right, and the food is disgusting.
Yeah, like
it kind of looks good. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh please,
it kind of looked good.
No, it didn't.
Anyways, aside from that horrible opinion, it just goes to show like what a iron grip they have on these people.
World.
Yeah, on the world. Yeah.
Right.
But like let alone these people, like these prisoners, you know.
Yeah, they're hopeless. Haru's dad, you know, he seems like an elder gentleman, so I'm sure he's seen a lot of the war, and he's very complacent, just waiting for it to go by. You know, not doing a damn thing about it. You know, he's like, we've avoided the war. I think Haru's mom says that, like, we've avoided the war. We want nothing to do with it. Leave that inspirational shit at home. Leave it at the door. We don't want to hear none of that. So eventually Sokka and Aang catch up to Katara at the prison, and Katara's like, I've tried talking to these people and they won't listen. Like we need to give them something to fight back with. So Sokka is like, okay, what about some earth? You know,
actually Aang said that, I think.
Well, no. So Sokka suggested, like, you know, if there was some kind of earth.
Oh yeah, and then Aang was like, Aang said, all that smoke.
Yeah, well, there's smoke. That means they got to be burning something, burning coal. In other words, earth.
Is it really? Oh my god.
So then Katara, Aang, and Sokka concoct another plan, very similar to the plan that they had before, using vents to, you know, use the air to bring earth out of these vents for the earthbenders to bend. So eventually, you know, they cause a little disruption to get the warden and all the guards to this area where the prisoners are. And Aang fulfills his part of the plan by getting all the coal up and into the area. So now the earthbenders have some earth to bend.
I was going to say, that's a lot of air that Aang had to push to get that coal up.
Oh, yeah.
But there was only one pipe, so...
But still, to push that much earth?
coal.
Oh, yeah. I felt like there was a lot more there.
That's what he's saying. It was a lot
for... That's a lot for an airbender.
I mean, but we see Aang come out and he's pretty dusty, so it must have took like a lot of effort. He must have been like, he must have gone in there and like. But we've also seen Aang do some pretty insane stuff with air too, so we know that he's really good at air.
Broken, I'm telling you.
But yeah, so Katara is standing on top of these rocks, saying, "All right, now we fight back. You have the earth on your side. Let's fight." And they're like, "No, I'm good."
The warden just
I like being a prisoner. Like, okay.
Yeah, the warden's like, these people have no hope. You know, your words and your breath are wasted on these people. They're nothing.
He wasn't even worried when all the coal showed up. He was like, they ain't gonna do nothing.
Right. And Haru, you know, being a young fiery force that he is, inspired by Katara's words, decides to chuck a rock at the warden's head while he's walking away. And we see him, you know, like ready to fight. You know, a bender ready to battle. And the Fire Nation shoots a fire blast at him. And Haru's dad, you know, we see him earthbend. And we see like, wow, this is some pretty powerful earthbending, not coming from a master like Bumi.
Yeah.
So we see a little more what earthbenders can do, you know, other than just throw big boulders and, you know, stomp the ground and stuff like that.
Did you say the boulder? No.
God damn it.
Yeah. So, you know, the earthbenders easily overpower because, like we said, these Fire Nation soldiers, they're ass.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term. And these earthbenders, you know, easily overpower them, drop them in the water. And Haru and Haru's dad thank Katara for being such an inspirational part of, you know, their fighting spirit has reformed and they're willing to take back their village from the Fire Nation, which we learn eventually that they do. And, you know, Katara leaves, you know, with a little more fire in her heart, knowing that her words were able to inspire these people to get their fighting spirit back. And Sokka and Aang also acknowledged this, saying like, "Wow, Katara, you're crazy, but
you know, it really helped."
Yeah, like you've helped these people. And we'll see in future episodes.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a reoccurring theme.
Katara loves helping people no matter what.
Psych, we call that not minding our business.
In the hood, we call that.
Facts.
Katara loves helping people, going to crazy lengths in order to, you know, fulfill, I don't know. Like,
Painted lady.
Oh, man.
She's only known these people for what, 12 hours?
Not even. Yo, are we not talking about how the fact that she simped over somebody like for 12 hours? Like she knew for 12 hours. She's like, I'd do anything to help him. Like,
yeah, they could have just left him.
All right, let's not call Katara a simp.
Okay, all right.
But like, she deserves more than
Jet.
Oh, hold on.
All right, but yeah, that's
episode
Jet.
13. We'll get there.
This is different from Jet. This is different from the Jet though, because she wanted to save, like, she pretty much wanted Haru and the people in that village to stand up for themselves.
Okay,
Right,
it would have
true.
never. I agree, but it's just like a, how do I put it? Like, there's always they made her like a
put some respect on her name.
Yeah. Of course, like she's Katara. Don't get me wrong, but they always had like a side character that's not Aang, like that she would fall for.
Fall for?
I suppose. I guess you could. I probably not the best choice of words, but like she clearly took a liking to Haru. Clearly,
that's true.
Clearly,
well, I feel like she related to him more than anything. Because of their, you know,
they're both
father,
benders.
Her mother, very similar story about how they got taken.
Don't really know how to bend.
And now Katara's in a position where she's able to help this guy get her dad back. Whereas before, she was very young when
she couldn't get her mom back.
So she has just a necklace to remember her by. But at the end of this episode, she finds that her necklace is missing.
Oh no!
And she left it in the prison. You know, they're already flying away. It's too late.
What a fool!
It's too late to go get it back. And at the final shot of the episode, we see Zuko holding that necklace, which means I'm still on your ass. I'm still on your ass. And you know, it's a good. And we see that's gonna be a what you call that? A stepping stone in Katara and Zuko's relationship.
Yeah,
as it does. Indirectly massively throughout the series. So, but that's the end of episode 6. My final takeaway from both of these episodes is earthbending is a problem.
I mean, why do you think Ba Sing Se has not been conquered?
Like earthbending, the Earth Kingdom when they unite together, they're a very powerful force to be reckoned with.
They have a really strong They have really strong willpower.
Right, and we see that the Fire Nation, can lock down these villages, but when it comes to the big cities, it's very hard because earthbending is just good. It's just a good style. It's rigid and it's just powerful against fire and against a lot of other elements too. I feel like the weakest element it is toward is water, because water is just a whole different force in itself.
Bloodbending.
We're not there.
But yeah, bloodbending is good against any body. Right?
Only on a full moon in this series, rather. In this series.
Yeah, in this series. Yeah, we'll get to Legend of Korra. But that was episode 3.
Episode 3.
That was
our episode 3.
Episode 6, my guy.
So Fire Nation clearly very threatened by the presence of other benders, especially Earthbenders, because
they're also the biggest nation.
We got to see a map real quick in one of these episodes, and we see Earth Kingdom.
It's huge. Earth Kingdom is Asia.
It's basically Asia compared to Europe and Australia.
Yeah.
Asia's huge, and Ba Sing Se is basically China. Like let's not beat around the bush. It's basically China.
Yeah.
Like it's huge. There's so many people. There's so many different layers. So this is our first taste of the Earth Kingdom, the Earth Nation, and what a powerful force they could be united. So
I still have one last issue that I could bring up.
Here we go.
The inconsistency of air.
Okay. So Markim is referring to this one shot where Aang is making a tornado, right? And we, as the viewers, see the tornado.
Yes, we could see air.
It's this blue, and we see it's flowing and stuff like that. And Aang's like, "Throw me some coal," and Katara know exactly where the beginning of this airstream is, and they drop the coal in there. Like they know exactly
right
where
in the middle.
But here's the thing: earlier on in the episode, when they were doing the fake earthbending, and Aang used air to raise the rock, the guards didn't see the air. So I'm like,
right, because the air was coming out of this vent, pushing the rock up, and
doesn't make any sense.
So maybe they didn't. It's not they didn't see it. They just thought that's how earthbending was.
Stop playing devil's advocate.
I'm just saying. What if that's how they thought earthbending was?
That's true. Hey, that's true. Maybe remember firebenders suck.
Yeah,
they're
they don't know.
They don't know. They're dumb. Remember they thought Momo was earthbending.
So the Avatar was right behind them, and they didn't do nothing.
Yeah, bro, Aang's right there.
Just turn around, and they'll find the Avatar.
Just take a glimpse.
Yeah, but the Fire Nation soldiers are very expendable. We'll call them.
They're very.
Yeah, but that's all I got for episodes 5 and 6. Join us next time for episodes 7 and 8, where we go into the spirit realm.
Yes, spirit.
Okay, spirit realm. Yes,
spirit world.
This is. Like these next 2 episodes are a 2-parter, so it's gonna be introduction to the spirit world, and then
there's a lot of lore. There's a lot of things that happen in these next 2 episodes.
Yeah. So wait till that next episode drops. Tune in. If you guys like this series, please follow us. Share our love for the series. Watch this series if you haven't. You can use these episodes as a guide. We don't. Obviously we're spoiling the show because the show's been out for 15 years. But
you can just watch it.
Yeah, every episode we do 2 episodes of the show, so you guys can watch those 2 episodes and then listen to this. We've been keeping this series 40 minutes for a reason. It's about the length of 2 episodes, so just use this as a guide and like a little follow-up series for watching the show. But this has been your host, Joel, Zion, Markim, myself, Dan. Hope you guys have a good night, good evening, good morning, good day, whatever time you're watching this. Enjoy yourself.
Listening.
Stay safe. Oh yeah, listening. Listening.
Ding, 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 ding.
Thank you for listening. Have a good one.
Okay.
Listening. Ding, 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 ding.